Hey everyone, Isaac here doing my Behind the Bedlams. Number 3, I've done Devil's Waltz, I've done Eastbound, and now today I'm doing a song off of Prodigal called Bwckward Glance. So I'll be talking about some of the inspirations I got for it, some of the words, and about the process of writing it a little bit and the story behind that. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's get right into it today. So I started writing Bwckward Glance. I was on my first ever tour. It was 7 days with some friends, about a little over a year before Sophia and I started Good Morning Bedlam. And we were driving around the Midwest, and I was jotting down some lyrics. And that's basically the first day I started writing Bwckward Glance. And I wrote a little bit about that story in my first drafts post, where you can find me. I just did one about Bwckward Glance on there. So that's one place you can check it out. And I remember for Bwckward Glance, the first day I wrote the chorus, been hearing your voice as I fall asleep. I was in Correctionville, Iowa, and we played this great show. I just remember having such a good day that day, and I wrote that with while sitting in the entryway to the venue. I've been hearing your voice as I fall asleep, playing mom and dad in my make-believe. Don't matter if these things are only in my dreams, I'll go and make these dreams come true. Without a backward glance, I go and make a family out of you. So the main riff of this song is the always on that C chord. And I know for a fact what I was inspired by is, at the time, I was listening to a lot of Noah and the Whale. A lot of Noah and the Whale. They were one of my inspiration bands for that time in my life. And they have this song called Rocks and Daggers. It went kind of similar. I've been playing a lot of that, and so I know I was definitely inspired. You know, there's quite a big difference there, but so lots of Noah and the Whale inspired this, and I think you'll see some of the other inspirations as we get going. I'll talk about some of those as well. But let's dig into the lyrics. This one's really interesting for a song, and very different from the other ones that I've talked about, because it is so old. I finished writing this song actually the day I graduated high school. So in the morning I got up, and instead of getting ready to graduate, I sat down and wrote this song, Bwckward Glance. But one reason that it's so unique is, or it's not unique, but it's different to talk about than Eastbound or Devil's Waltz, is just because it's been so long since I've written it, and it is very personal. And so a lot of the things we'll be digging into, I don't know if they do all still hold true today about how I feel about things. So let's take a look and we'll kind of see if that's true, I suppose. All right, so the first verse goes, chorus after chorus, I've been sucking down these dregs of this dark roast coffee of bitterness. If you paid with your own money, then you must drink it, even if you're full and even if you're full. And I think probably it's so hard to even remember what what exactly I was trying to say or what all those words mean. So what I think I was probably trying to talk about is I had this way, well, I still have this way, but I had this way in high school of always latching to bitterness or latching to suffering. And I think that's something that's modeled poorly to artists, is that you have to be a suffering artist or something like that. And that's taken a long time for me to unlearn. And I think at this point I still really was trying to kind of figure out what I thought about that. And so I've been sucking down these dregs of this dark roast coffee of bitterness. If you paid with your own money, then you must drink it. And then, even if you're full and the flavor is piss. And those are my edgy 18-year-old lyrics there. Conor Oberst said piss in one of his songs, so I I'm going to be edgy. Put that in there. I can't even sing it live anymore. It's so funny. So now, when we sing it live, I just say, even if you're full and even if you're full. Man, because I can't make myself say something as cheesy as flavor is piss. But I think it's a good testament to the time I was in and being in high school. And I think that was pretty bold of me, actually, as a homeschool kid, graduating high school. But just this idea that if it's offered to you, you have to take it, And I think that's like something we definitely learn in our culture, which is if you buy it, if you buy into it, if you take part in it, if you spend the money, like, you got to use it. You've got to have it. And so this idea of I've invested so much in bitterness, like, I can't just let it go. Oh man, what does that make me then? I think that's probably what I was trying to say. And then we hop into that second verse, which is that a porcelain Jesus came and stole my words. He called it a blessing by lifting off that burden. I'm no prophet who speaks bread from steam. I'm just some judge in this American scheme. I think probably what I was trying to talk about there is, I know even at the time, even as an 18-year-old, I was struggling with this idea of this religion with this perfect person, and just this idea, all of these statues, or, I was also really thinking about picturing the nativity of, like, just this perfect statue of God. And if God is something that's real, I remember thinking, would he look so perfect if he was human, or would he just be human? And I just think sometimes I really struggled with this idea of this perfection that was modeled in the religion that I was a part of and I grew up in, and there's almost cleanness to it. I guess perfection is not the right word. Perfection, I think, is something that is always good, is a good thing. But I think that cleanliness or upstandingness is more of what I was picturing with just those lines. And I honestly don't know what I'm not a prophet who speaks bread from steam. I'm just a judge in this American scheme. Oh, I actually think I do remember. I think what I was trying to talk about is, I remember also feeling very frustrated as a high schooler, trying to dig into some of these philosophical questions and being like, it would be really easy to be a prophet, somebody who hears something directly if they believe in something, rather than just always feeling like you're wandering around in the dark and trying to figure out what you believe. I always felt really kind of jealous about that kind of sureness, almost. I think that's probably what I was referencing. And then I head into the chorus. And the chorus goes, I've been hearing your voice as I fall asleep, playing mom and dad in my make-believe. Don't matter if these things are only in my dreams. Go and make these dreams come true. Without a backward glance, I go and make a family out of you. It's funny, I'm kind of getting into this, like, these philosophical questions, or my high school way of getting into these philosophical questions of, why are you here? What's true? That kind of thing. And then into the chorus is almost this, I go straight into a love song, and I think that's funny, because that's such a high school thing, or at least my high school experience was, there are two modes of operation. What does all this mean? And girls. And so I think it's funny that this song almost combines in this so, like, deep and, oh, aren't I dramatic, into, I've been hearing your voice as I fall asleep. And at the end of the day, I'm just thinking about girls. It's kind of funny. Accurate, but funny. So we come out of that first chorus into, I was born a baby crying. Was born a baby crying in a sterilized room. But I will go quiet to my whitewashed tomb. Maybe I was crying because I already knew that I'd lose my infant heart on some quest to find the truth. Once again, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Just talking about growing up, I guess, and the way you change, and and how you lose something in growing up almost. Now I think this fourth verse is the most interesting, and I think it's a really interesting idea, and it was a very bold move. I think for me as a high schooler, we are always talking about our inspirations as artists, and we're always trading. And so what I wanted to do, I remember thinking, is just literally put my favorite artists' names into a song and just say, like, this is who I'm inspired by. This is who, because I had not really seen that before ever in a song. And so I just went for it. And it goes, Oberst mirrors my beating heart, Connor Oberst of Bright Eyes, and Avett speaks my mind. Avett Brothers, who are my favorite band of all time. Thiele brings my doubts to light. Chris Thiele of Punch Brothers and Nickel Creek, another idol of mine. John Foreman gives me signs. John Foreman is the lead singer of Switchfoot, which I actually don't listen to Switchfoot, but he also has these folk albums, just his solo stuff, John Foreman, and they are just phenomenal as far as sad folk songs go, which is my jam. John Foreman gives me signs. Good old Sondre Lerche. Sondre Lerche is actually a Norwegian artist that did the soundtrack for the movie Dan in Real Life, and it's my favorite soundtrack of all time. It's probably my favorite movie of all time. And good old Sondre Lerche wrote the song To Be Surprised, and To Be Surprised was my favorite song at the time. It's still one of my all-time favorite songs. Little did he know he wrote that song about my life. That's a bold move, actually, to just put your favorite artists in there and write about them. And then I say, as a poet, I will join them. I will do my very best. Well, if we're going to talk about, not only do I put my favorite artist names in there, but then I put myself among the list. And I actually think that's like, looking back, I mean, you could kind of take it pretentiously, but also that's me as an 18-year-old saying, like, we're artists, they're people, I'm people, we're all writing. We're all trying to make some sense of it. That's kind of actually a cool idea. As a poet, I will join them. I will do my very best to only speak the truth when I send it to the press. The thing about my truth is that it's just a young man's guess. And the voices in my head are saying, just give it a rest. I think I was always wondering, all of my writing and all of my thoughts, I just always have so much doubt about everything. And I remember wondering, like, obviously my inspirations all have doubts. I mean, Connor Oberst, the Avett Brothers, John Foreman write about nothing but doubt. And I think that's why I love them so much, is just a certain amount of honesty in their songwriting. And I think there's nothing more masterful than being able to be honest in your song and to also tell a story. And to intertwine those things together musically is just something that is a very masterful thing to do if you can do it right, if you can do it well. I just so badly aspire to be able to do that as a writer. Then we go back into the chorus. Hearing your voice as I fall asleep. And then we go, of course, go into the fiddle solo. And back into the chorus again. This song has actually gone through a lot of change since we recorded. One thing, we all learned to, play in rhythm since we recorded it. But this has actually become a really fun one to play live with the 3-part harmonies, and we just made it bigger, and it's got a lot of, like, contrasting rhythms, and it's been really fun to play this one lately. That's really all I have to say about Bwckward Glance as a song, but I think one thing that, as I've been talking about it, I could go back and talk to myself as an 18-year-old about this song. I think that I would just say, be proud of this one. And I think I really am proud of this song. Maybe not, especially, I wrote it 5.5 years ago. Proud of it for the process, and proud of it, that's a courageous thing, to put your feelings out there and experiment so much. I experimented a lot with the rhythms of things and really pushed myself. I mean, at the time, pushed myself musically and really wanted to do something experimental, throwing those names in there and putting myself in there. And that's a really courageous move. And I don't know if I would be that courageous today in my songwriting. I definitely wouldn't say it's the best song or the best Good Morning Bedlam song, or it's not a master. I mean, maybe I would go back and say, this isn't your masterpiece, but you should be really proud of this. And because it takes that kind of experimentation to learn. And I think this song was a big step in my songwriting, to really put myself out there and try something a little bit different. And I was, I've been addicted to that feeling ever since. I always have to put at least one weird thing in a song. And I think putting those artist names in there was a really interesting idea. And I think without songs like this, I wouldn't have ended up writing the songs I'm really proud of at the moment. Eastbound or The Orchard. I think these, songs like this are stepping stones to that. Even though now I might not agree with everything in it, or I don't think about those things, and I think all songs are timestamps of your life, and it was an interesting time to be so dramatic and write these love songs that also were just filled with so much doubt. And I don't know. I'm proud of little high school Isaac. So I hope if you're making art, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. I think that's important to know. You can try weird stuff, you can try different stuff, and it's all, making art is just about being creative. And so that's all I have to say about Bwckward Glance, I think. I hope you've been enjoying these Behind the Bedlam videos. They've actually become one of my favorite parts of the month. One of my favorite things to do in Good Morning Bedlam. So I hope you enjoy watching them, because I'm enjoying making them. I'm excited to see what you choose next month. I think we're going to open it up to the public and let everybody vote. And then if there are any ties, we'll let you Patreon members vote in them. We are so thankful for all of your support. Please comment if you have any more questions. If there's anything else you want to know, just ask away, because I'm happy to answer them. This is, a really special thing that I get to do, and I'm really blessed to be able to talk about these things. All right. See you later.